Let's get started with the first fight that we have on here. We got a lightweight matchup between Renato Moicano, who is 14-4-1, and is the minus 240 favorite, going up against Jai Herbert, who is 10-2 and is the plus 200 underdog. What do you see with this?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, this is an early contender for fight of the night for me. I think Renato Moicano has had some troubles with his chin as of late. He's coming off a loss, but out of his last five, he's got three out of his last five were losses. Um, I expect these two to throw often and a lot and throw a ton of volume. And I expect Moicano to move better, which we've seen in his last two fights with his move at lightweight. His gas tank has been improved because that drastic weight cut hasn't had to happen. Moicano also has great leg kicks. We know this. And he also has a BJJ black belt level grappling. Moicano is due for a win. And this fight was extremely hard to pick for me, and maybe the hardest one on the card, if I'm being honest. But I think Herbert and his use of the jab and combination is going to be too much for Moicano. So I'm going to go with Herbert, the big underdog by second round KO. I think that 7-inch or 6-inch reach advantage, 5-inch, I'm sorry, it's a 5-inch reach advantage. I think that's huge. Herbert's a lanky dude who uses his hands pretty well, and he's a knockout artist. And I think with Moicano's leaving the chin open when he's dropping his hands, I think is going to pay dividends on this one. What do you think? You're on mute.
They both have one grand weakness with this matchup that really makes things hard to pick them. But I'll get to that in a second. But first, you got Moicano, who is fighting out of Brasilia Federal District, Brazil. He's 32 years old, 155 pounds, 5'11", 72-inch reach. And he fights out American Top Team gym and then Constrictor Team gym. Then you got Jai Herbert. He fights out in England. He's 33 years old, 156 pounds, 6'1", 77-inch reach. And he fights out Team Renegade BJJ Gym. You got Moicano, who has a Muay Thai style background where he stands tall and leaves his chin in the air, which is something that he has to watch in this fight. He tends to lean back a lot, and he has a great low calf kick. So expect for him to utilize that a lot in this matchup because of Herbert's height. Moicano is great at grappling against the fence to get takedowns. He has really good, well-rounded jiu-jitsu, but he tends to take too many shots and leaves himself open, like I said before. And then you got Jai Herbert. He's pretty tall for the division. He has a really good reach, very light on his feet. He likes to feint and throw jabs, which are used mainly to set up his right hook. Everything is coming right at you, and he has a great movement and speed to him for his height. He's not good at defending on the ground, and his takedown defense is very poor. Mm-hmm. That's one thing, like I was saying in this matchup, where both of them have a thing that they need, ground weakness. Herbert is his takedown defense, whereas Moicano has really good wrestling. But the weakness, I think, with Moicano is his coaches. He has two coaches that he usually uses that when he uses them, they focus on his takedowns, his wrestling. He does that, he wins. But then for some reason, he uses two other coaches, and they're the ones that get him to basically stand up and trade. That's what he's done the past couple fights, and he's lost because he's trying to stand up and fight with them where he should be using his wrestling to his advantage. I feel like this all hinges on who he uses, because if he uses his wrestling in his fight, I think he's going to dominate, because I don't think Herbert's going to be able to combat against it because he doesn't defend the takedown at all. And Moicano will be able to minimize that. But if Moicano stands up and trades, I think he's going to get knocked out. But I feel like in this matchup, he's going to get back to the wrestling. He's going to limit the shots that he takes because he's going to be on the ground. He's really good with transitioning from each guard. And I feel like he's going to keep it on the ground so he doesn't get popped at all, because of that. The height advantage isn't going to matter if you're on the ground. So I got this as a unanimous decision victory for Moicano, where he's just going to wear Herbert down on the ground. But I will give that option where I do think if he does stand and trade, I will agree with you. Herbert could win by a second round knockout. I do think he could, but I'm hoping he doesn't. I'm hoping he takes the fight to the ground.
Yeah, I mean that 5-inch reach advantage is huge. That can really change the fight. But I agree with you. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, there may be, in terms of Moicano's corner, there may be too many cooks in the kitchen.
Now,
we see that kind of often when people start at one camp. Let's go Aljamain Sterling, right? He started with Sarah Longo and then trained in Las Vegas. And he couldn't bring his primary coach of Matt Serra. So he went with the Las Vegas coach. So sometimes we see that power struggle between coaches who think they know their fighter from the past and coaches who know their fighter of the present. And I think that's what we're looking at of Moicano.
Yeah. But so you got second round knockout by Herbert, and I got unanimous decision by Moicano.
Yep.
So let's move on to the second